landscaping or working with nurseries or greenhouses, kind of find something that you enjoy. I enjoy working with plants. What's interesting is that a lot of our customers are local, but all of our marketing is done through Facebook. It's been a really good way to market directly to the consumer. I believe in the power of youth to make things better, because as older adults we're kind of set in our ways, but with youth there's always potential to improve things. Working with people, you don't always see results, or if you do, sometimes it could be a while before you see the return on your investment. But when working with plants, a lot of times that investment or that return is a lot quicker.
All right, so we're outside of the NCNLA Education Summit here in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I met Jason Davis. And Jason is you have a farm and you're a professor too. So tell us just a little bit about yourself.
I began my career as a high school ag teacher. So I was a member of the FFA in high school, and my family farmed, but there wasn't enough there to support me, so I decided that I needed to kind of find gainful employment. And being a high school ag teacher, I had a really good ag teacher in high school, and he kind of encouraged me to become an ag teacher. So I worked as an ag teacher, I worked as a state director for the FFA, and now I'm in higher education, partially in teaching and administration.
So Jason, tell us about you have kind of a split position both in administration and as a teacher. What all do you do?
I work with outreach with the School of Agricultural and Biological Sciences, the University of Mount Olive. So programming, tours, conferences, engagement with students, our high school academies, a lot of conferences and conventions representing the University of Mount Olive, and then I also teach typically about one class, 2 classes a semester.
And what are the classes that you're teaching this year?
Field experiences, and the other ones kind of rotate around. I kind of end up being the person to fill in a lot of different areas. So I've taught anything from soil science to environmental natural resources and everything but animal science.
And so you also have your own farm. So tell us about that. How many acres is it? How long have you had it? And what do you grow?
I started farming when I started teaching in 1998, and I started with soybeans and wheat. And as my life changed, I decided to change some different avenues. And what I've kind of found is, as a small grower, I could do a lot better with smaller projects. So I go where there's high value, high intensity, high levels of knowledge farming. So I have bees. We have 13 hives of bees so far. We have roughly over 1,000 mums that we grow that are field mums for the fall. We also do about 2 acres of sweet corn, and the latest addition has been cut flowers.
Okay, so you've got bees and cut flowers and mums, and what was the other one?
Sweet corn.
And sweet corn. Okay, so that's interesting. So who are those different customers of each of those then?
What's interesting is that a lot of our customers are local, but all of our marketing is done through Facebook. And it's been a really good way to market directly to the consumer.
So is that individual like homeowners or people who are buying plants for their personal home, or do you do any wholesale?
Primarily personal individuals. We do a few wholesale contracts, but primarily 70 to 80% of my business is individuals.
So I've grown up, I worked at a garden center in Illinois, and we have a pretty harsh winter there. And we bought mums every fall, and we'd put them out. We were kind of joking about this with a bale of hay and
some corn stalks.
Some corn stalks and a scarecrow and some pumpkins and some gourds. And that was kind of the fall thing. And I always thought that mums were annuals because we would get rid of them after that and we'd buy new ones in the fall. And that was one of the top sellers. But you were sharing that mums are actually perennials, but it really depends on where they're grown and how harsh the winter is.
Yeah, here in the southeast, if you put your mums in the ground and plant them after they're finished blooming, they will come back a couple of years if we have a good mild winter. If we've got a kind of a harsh, snowy and icy winter, you could lose some of your mums, depending on the location you put them at your home and how much mulch you provide with them. So typically, the hard part is that once you sell mums, if customers are smart about it, they could have mums for 2 or 3 years.
Well, so if the customers are smart about it, so I kind of feel like maybe the mums people have been leading us to think that we need to buy new ones every year.
That's a good marketing strategy, but typically I do talk with my customers and ask them if they're going to plant them or not. And also watering requirements. They tend to like a lot of water September and October. So if they take care of their mums, they last longer.
Thanks for the tips. I'm going to see if I can keep some alive through the winter
Yeah, that would be awesome.
and see what happens.
Yeah, that's awesome. They're a real good hardy plant. Most people really enjoy mums just because of the fall color.
Yeah, we always just had them in planters and didn't keep them. Didn't really think about it.
You know, one of the things I've really noticed here in the last couple of years is everyone has gone toward more of a plastic terracotta pot, and people are looking for, homeowners are looking for something that's display ready. So they buy plants that are already in plastic containers that go directly onto their porch for display. So the plastic containers are lighter. They look good from the road. So that's kind of been a change as compared to the standard black nursery cans that we're kind of, I guess, conditioned to buy mums from.
Okay, so these are more presentable plastic pots.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. They're showroom worthy. So
Is that how you're packaging yours?
some of them. We still do some in the black plastic containers or mum pans. But we do some that are ready to display.
Do you find people are willing to pay more for them if they're in the display ready pots?
Yes. there is a distinct markup and a increase in your marginal revenue for using the decorative pots.
Well, so I'm curious. So you've had this farm for a while and you've arrived at selling these things. What are you most excited about in running your farm these days?
For me, it's a change of pace. You know, you're working outside, you're working with plants, you have those endorphins that are released, because working with people, you don't always see results. Or if you do, sometimes it could be a while before you see the return on your investment. But when working with plants, a lot of times that investment or that return is a lot quicker. So it's a good break from things as long as everything works. You don't want repairs.
So you must be pretty busy. Like, how many hours do you work on your farm in a week? And I'm sure this varies seasonally, but how much are you working in the farm versus working at the university?
The university is a good 40 hours per week plus, depending on travel requirements. Typically, I squeeze in my farm stuff either late in the evenings, which is really nice now because our day lengths last until about 9 o'clock in the evening, so I can squeeze in a couple hours in the evening, or Saturdays. Landscaping or working with nurseries or greenhouses, kind of find something that you enjoy. I enjoy working with plants. I've enjoyed growing all the mums that I've grown, growing sweet corn, and I feel like that's kind of my purpose. You know, we're called to be stewards, and my job is I look after my bees, I look after those mums, and maybe in a small sense I help make the surrounding community better and look better.
Well, I believe you do through your plants and then also through the people that you're teaching these skills, because they're learning from you in that way too.
Education, I always feel like there's an opportunity for us to improve, and whenever we have a project, we evaluate the project or the event afterwards, and I always say, well, this is the learning opportunity. What went well, what we'd like to change, and there's always an educational component to whatever we do. So, and I believe in the power of youth to make things better. You know, we have a proven track record in this country of, you know, when they started with societal change with seatbelts and to stop smoking and other campaigns, they started with youth, because as older adults we're kind of set in our ways, but with youth there's always a potential to improve things.
So what are some of the ways that either NCNLA or the university, how are you reaching the youth? How are you connecting with people early in their life? Because you grew up around it from your family. For people who maybe it's not in their family but they would be interested, how do you reach young people?
With any organization, whether it be a church or fire department, your local Grange or Rotary, people go where they find value. So if you can provide value to people, in extension they used to refer to it as voting with your feet. People show up to activities in which they gain from it. And the NCNLA does that through their educational opportunities, through their conferences, through their events, by providing professional development credits for providing opportunities to interact with your peers.
One of the things that we just did before we did this podcast was we made a little video to help get more volunteers. So for folks listening, tell us about what are the volunteer opportunities with NCNLA?
Typically at our conferences and different events, there's opportunities for you to come and be engaged, either to help out. Probably the best thing is just to contact the staff and see kind of where you can put your strengths to work at.
Well, so one of the things that we talked about was some of the volunteers have even been connected with potential employers. So for folks listening, and maybe we expand this outside of NCNLA, because I have people all over the country who watch and listen to this. How can you get involved with your state association, and how can that maybe help you connect with potential hires?
If I was an employer and I was looking for a talent pipeline, I would get connected with your universities, community colleges or junior colleges in your state, then also your high school ag program. Within those schools, there's young people that are excited about the content of the green industry, whether it's working in greenhouses or nursery or landscaping components or just working with plants in general. If you can kind of capture some of that interest and then hone it into the talent and strengths that you need for your business, that's where I would kind of go and begin to cultivate that talent.
I really like that, and I'm thinking of a client of mine in Texas that has a nursery and landscape company, and they have a horticulture apprenticeship for high school students. And I got to interview this woman, Abigail, who went through that, and it was in conjunction with the high school, and then eventually got a part-time job, and then is now a full-time employee at that nursery.
At the University of Mount Olive, what's unique about our program is all of our students are required to complete a 10-week internship. So typically during the summer, the students pick an internship that's aligned with their major, and they spend that summer working through at least 4 objectives and the supervision of a university supervisor to get that work-based experience. And kind of what we've learned is that a lot of times when employers really like an intern or student intern, they don't want to let them go. They typically work to keep that talent in-house.
Yeah, I like that. So for folks listening, get involved with your local colleges and state association. And Jason, for people who are listening and we want to check out your farm or we want to network with you, how can we get in touch?
I would say reach me at my either at our web address at www.umo.edu or rdavis@umo.edu.
All right. Well, I'll put links to that in the show notes so people can connect with you there. And thanks for coming on the Landscaper's Guide. Hey, it's Jack Jostes, and I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Jason Davis. If you did, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We release a new video on sales, marketing, and leadership for the green industry every week. And with that, click the link at the end of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.